Hey ladies, I hope you have your lipstick, your red lipstick. That's going to be the symbol of the series. And if you're in the Diva head, and your cup of tea, because here is part 3 of how I married a married man. No, I didn't know he was married, but yes, ma'am. I ended up being scammed into marry a married man and was abused for over a year, probably right at a year, while being with this man. Now I'm going to start from the beginning on how we met. I was going out on dates. I was doing a dating experiment of going on over 100 dates, and I did it in a little over 4 months because my picker was broken. Okay, I kept choosing all of the wrong guys, and I needed to figure out, for my daughter's sake, like how to be able to break this generational pattern of attracting all the wrong guys. So I was doing research by meeting different men online. Back in the day, you can meet somebody in the newspaper. Like, there was different strategies that I was using to be able to meet guys, and I was going out on dates on a regular basis. That day that I met him, I had 3 dates scheduled. I had a coffee date, a dinner date, and a lunch date, and he was the lunch date. We met at the Noodle in Atlanta, and when he walked in and sat down, the thing that I noticed about him was his eyes. Now, you guys, I have a really big thing about eyes because I do believe that eyes are the windows of the soul. And I wasn't really attracted to him, but I didn't. The part that really bothered me was his eyes, right? Because you could see the meaty part of his eye. You know how you could see, like, in somebody's eye crust or eye corner, and you could see that part of his eye, and that bothered me. But I was like, you're being superficial. Like, why are you getting caught up in the meaty part of his eye? And so I was like, just focus, just listen to him and give him a chance. And that was the last day. Like, my eHarmony subscription expired that day. And that day he messaged me. And that day is when I scheduled him for the date. Big mistake. Should never do that. I should have communicated with him more on the app. So I met him that day. And when he sat down, he was so excited about me. He was so enamored with, like, how attractive I was, and talked about how beautiful I was, how he liked what he saw. And he came off as very confident. And I liked that. I liked his level of confidence, his forwardness, his willingness to say what it is that he wanted. I didn't really pick up on or listen to my gut, because while I was sitting with him, my gut was like, no, ma'am, run. But there was no evidence. There was nothing about anything that he was saying that was saying why to run. So I felt like it was because of things that happened in my. Now, at the time, I was dealing with a financial crisis. I was in real estate investing. I had properties that I owned. I bought and sold properties. I was involved in a large development property where we were turning an apartment complex into a condo project. And the market around this time, because this was about 2008, the market started to change and everybody was losing money left and right. And I was no different. And then the partners that I got into the deal with screwed the hell out of me. And when I met him, he seemed so put together. And I wanted somebody who could financially match where I was and where it is that I was working to get back to. And so he was very charming. We talked about how he loved golf, how he was a professional golf player, how he had sponsors, how he was really dedicated to achieving his dream of getting his PGA card and all these things. And I admired the fact that he had goals, that he was very driven. And I had to go from that date because I stayed for the date for probably about an hour and a half. And he said, well, I want to see you this evening. You know, is there a way that I can take you to dinner? And I told him that I can't. I already had plans. And so he asked me, well, do you have plans with somebody else? And I said, actually, I do, because I am currently dating. That means that I am looking for the person that's going to be best for me. So I unapologetically dated more than one person at a time, because dating is an interview process. And he said, I can respect that. As a matter of fact, I want you to go on that date, and I want you to have a great time. And after that date, call me, because I know that I'm going to be the one that you're going to end up with. Now, it was something about his confidence and how he didn't react to the fact that I was going to go on another date and that he was mature about it that just really turned me on, right? It was like, look at this, a man who's confident. But I didn't realize later on that it was reverse psychology, that he wasn't okay, that he wasn't as confident as he presented himself to be. So the whole time I'm on a date with somebody else, with the other guy, I was thinking about him. I was thinking about, like, wow, like his level of confidence, the fact that he was really into me, all of the different nice things that he said about me. He talked about his mansion. He talked about all of his successes. He talked about the businesses that he had. And I admired that because I didn't want to have to be with somebody else that I had to take care of. As a college educated woman who had my own money and came from the industry of pharmaceutical sales and who bought my own 3-story house with 7 bedrooms and drove a Lexus truck, like my ex-husband, I had to take care of him. I was the one that was paying the bills. I was the one that was doing everything. And I didn't want to be in another relationship where I had to do everything. And here before me was finally an opportunity where I could be with somebody who was maybe doing better than me. He was financially stronger than me. He was a professional athlete. He had goals and he had aspirations and he had it going on. No, he didn't. So I ended up calling him after the dinner date with the other guy because I spent the whole date. I can't even remember what the guy I went out on to dinner with. I can't even remember what he was talking about. I can't even remember what he looked like because all I could do was think about Region and our conversation and how much fun we had. And in the back of my head, I was like, I don't really like the meaty part of his eye. And I remember telling my friend that, like, he has a meaty eye and I don't like that. And she was like, girl, like, you're always being picky and you're always finding something to not like about somebody. So why don't you give him a chance? Like, overlook that. If you had a good time with him, then give him a chance. So I called him, and biggest mistake was that I called him the night after the date and I let him come over. I will tell you in part 4 what happened.